Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. Hi. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the QAD Design Standard Unit Mechanical Engineering Review process. My name is Steve Cusick. As I said, I'm a licensed professional engineer in 3 states, in New Jersey, New York, and Florida. Next slide, please. So the submittal package, what does that consist of? When it comes into QAD, I like to have a nice complete package of documents to review. So you provide documents necessary to demonstrate that the design submitted for review is code compliant and satisfies Port Authority project requirements. Indicate the applicable building code for the jurisdiction on the submittal documents, whether it's New York City, New Jersey, or New York State. We do cover 3 different jurisdictions. List the appropriate reference standards as noted in the mechanical codes. And of course, the 2025 TCRM, the Tenant Construction Review Manual. Next slide, please. Checklist. For the submittal package, there's drawings, there's whatever calculations, reports, specification documents. These are very necessary for us to review. And of course, they need to be digitally signed and sealed and third-party verified by a licensed PE. We no longer accept wet copies, raised seals, anything that's certified. It's got to be third-party verified. So there's a whole procedure there for submitting digitally. Provide applicable technical specifications, show design criteria, list required special inspections, verify the mechanical drawings are fully dimensioned and all HVAC equipment are called out. Next, please. One of the common things that we come across is very cluttered and hard to find items that are mechanical. I call them disguised. So please subdue the backgrounds as best you can. Do provide the backgrounds. I mean, RCPs are nice. I understand it's great for locating terminal units, but it does clutter up the screen rather quickly. Next, please. So our review process, we do audits. The audits are based on the requirements of the applicable mechanical codes adopted by each local jurisdiction in which Port Authority has facilities, as well as the requirements in the Port Authority Tenant Construction Review Manual, TCRM. The audits are performed by individual reviewers in collaboration with other reviewers within QAD DSU. All comments are peer-reviewed prior to being formally issued. Next slide, please. You can find specific requirements in the Tenant Construction Review Manual that have to do with airport fueling, the Port Authority bus terminal in regards to fire smoke dampers and post-fire smoke purge systems, passenger loading walkways and boarding bridges, the use or the lack of use of PVC pipe inside the building, smoke control systems. A lot of atriums are being introduced into our facilities, so smoke control has become more popular. So please check the base design plans. Next slide. Some basic information. Review elements when QAD audits the construction documents to confirm that the design complies with code requirements, including but not limited to those for, say, fresh ventilation air, fire barrier, and smoke control barrier integrity. QAD also audits the conceptual designs and provides guidance, but only recommends approval for construction when the construction documents are complete and then digitally signed and sealed and third-party verified by a licensed architect or engineer registered in the state in which the project occurs. Next slide. This slide illustrates where you can find the codes digitally. That's why I prefer. I go right to the source. I go right to the New York City Department of Building, and they have a nice handy little thing there with the 2022 construction code, so you can find the building code, and all these are adopted by New York City. You can find the mechanical code there as well, and of course the energy conservation code. So I give this for your convenience so you can see what it looks like. You can kind of like go from there and hit one of the hyperlinks and you go right to your document. And it has all the amendments and whatnot. But of course, there's the local laws and stuff like that that also go into play. Rules of the city in New York, that's also applicable. So you have to be careful about those items as well. Next slide, please. Now we have New York State. Similarly, this one they sent is a nice link within the International Code Council website specifically for New York State. And then in there, they have all the adopted codes that have been custom made for New York State. So you can find the building code, mechanical code, and the energy conservation code. Next slide, please. Then for New Jersey, they have their Department of Consumer Affairs. You can find in that page the applicable document that you're looking for, whether it's building subcode and mechanical subcode, or again, the energy subcode. Next slide. And you can see this is what the 2025 TCRM looks like, which also is a handy reference when you're doing work in our facilities. Next slide, please. Now I'll talk about some typical pitfalls and things that we commonly come across, and some of the comments that we would make. So the issue would be like if there's new HVAC equipment, well, it's got to meet the energy conservation code. So in the code, you can find there's usually if there's new equipment, you can see there's a table that's illustrated here for minimum efficiency of particular equipment for like a rooftop unit, and you can see what the whatever applies to it, and you can see whatever unit that you have and the efficiencies that are required by code. Next slide, please. Another common issue is the ventilation calculations. Usually these are omitted, and we do check for that, especially if there's changes to the HVAC system. Even if it's like changing out a couple of rooms, we don't know if it's like a conference room sometimes, or how many people were in a previous place and going to another place. So it helps to see the ventilation calculations that are provided, just to make sure it's been investigated and considered and in the design. Next slide, please. Another common occurrence would be the condensate drainage systems, specifically for like walk-in coolers and walk-in freezers. Even though it's cold inside, the code does require the condensate drainage system be provided for the evaporator coil within the walk-in appliance. And you can see the code citation that we would do, and we'd also throw in there that note about the PVC, that it's not allowed. So you have to design accordingly. Next slide. Another one, missing code compliant components of carbon monoxide detection systems. Carbon monoxide has been cited more frequently recently. It has become a hot topic, and We are aware of it, and we are looking for that to be addressed in the design. Carbon monoxide is usually brought on by equipment like fuel oil, natural gas fired equipment. Um, and then we even look even as far as like the rooftop unit, if there's a gas fired heating section, that's also considered potential for generating carbon monoxide. And there's a lot of caveats. There's a lot of stuff in the building code, specifically in the building code regarding the carbon monoxide detection system, along with the rules of the city of New York, 915-01. Great resource. Please get familiar with it to avoid any kind of comment. That's usually the best place to take a look at. Next slide, please. Yeah, delegated designs. Designs have to be completed by the engineer of record and not transferred responsibility to the contractor. If there is anything having to do with design by a contractor, you will get the following comment in green saying that you can't do that. Next comment. Next slide, please. Demolition plans often are not provided and are very helpful in understanding the work being done. It's pretty important, especially if there's like an existing space and there's a lot of duct work and piping and we don't know what they are and we're kind of like shaking, we're scratching our head. Please, more information is better. So having a demolition plan, it does help the process to perform the audits. Next slide, please. Another one, whenever there's a revision, I get it. Sometimes it's easier just to rev cloud the whole entire document. However, makes us put on our investigative cap and start looking at it more deeply. And if you could, please be more specific and rev cloud the items that are changed, that would really expedite our review process. Next slide, please. Some other common elements that we look for, like especially for like rooftop supply air and exhaust air equipment, by providing the weight. These they weigh a lot. They can be, as you can see, 200 pounds or 30,000 pounds or even more. These things need to be noted. Openings in the roof for sheet metal ductwork. Then next one would be like for any kind of penetrations for natural gas that goes up to a rooftop unit or other piece of equipment. Electrical service to the equipment. Anything that might need an opening in the roof, if there's framing that needs to be provided to support the equipment, structurally sound like that, that also needs to be considered in the design. And then the other big thing is like whenever there's air capacity of a unit that's greater than 2000 CFM, duct smoke detectors are required. Now there are different caveats and stuff like that, so please check your jurisdiction and check the code for the use of duct smoke detectors. Next slide, please. As I said earlier, like often the roof plan does not have the opening information and it'll generate a comment. The operating weight, it's missing, and it's also, we'll have a comment on that. Electrical usage, circuit breaker size. Typically, it hasn't happened that they're missing from the equipment schedules, and also if there's an electrical outlet that's required. Again, check your jurisdiction to see the requirement for electrical outlet for equipment up on the roof. Next slide, please. Dampers, they need to be shown on the drawings, especially on required rated walls. Those rated walls are fire rated, and if there's a penetration, you have just jeopardized the integrity of the wall. So some kind of device needs to be installed at the penetration. And when that happens, if there is an occasion where the ductwork penetrates a fire-rated wall, please include details of the fire damper, fire smoke damper in the walls, and please reference the UL listing. Fire dampers are UL 555. The smoke dampers are UL 555S. Also, sequence of operation is quite handy, so we can see how these dampers are interacting with the various systems, whether it's smoke purge, normal operation, smoke control system. Having that sequence of operations on the drawings will prevent a comment from being made. Next slide, please. Dampers installed within ductwork. Typically, they're mounted inside with a sleeve. Be careful of details, so that's why we look for these details so we can check it out. Sometimes I find mineral wool would be stuffed between the fire rated wall and the top of the sleeve. Those are not good instances. That's not per the UL listing, so please do not put mineral wool in those voided spaces. Dampers installed in ductwork need to have access panels or doors in the duct, access the damper for inspections and maintenance. Also, some kind of sign or indicator letting staff, building people, facilities people know that there's a damper up there, whether it's a fire damper or fire smoke damper or a smoke damper. Next, please. Next, we are going to the commercial kitchen exhaust systems. For grease hoods, typically type 1, that must have UL listing, and it's got to be on the drawings, the mechanical plans, not the food service drawings. Typically, food service plans are not signed and sealed, so it's got to be on the mechanical plans that are signed and sealed. You can have the food service drawings, but the code required aspects, they need to go either on the MEP set or the food service drawings need to be signed and sealed. Verification from the type 1 hood that UL 710 listed and labeled equipment will perform as designed for a former kitchen cooking appliance arrangement when reusing an existing type 1 hood. Some people have been some designers have been using existing hoods, and the cooking arrangement is, and they're 710 listed and labeled, but that was for that particular setup. We don't know what that setup is. We have a new arrangement, so you have to verify with the equipment manufacturer for your new kitchen equipment layout under that hood if the UL listing is still applicable. Carbon monoxide detection system whenever an appliance generates carbon monoxide. Next slide, please. Let's see, rooftop equipment, sometimes are omitted from plans. Happens every once in a while, but it would be helpful to have the equipment on the roof shown and labeled. Clear indication that makeup air units, outside air intake openings have enough space clearance from other exhaust openings, even like vents from plumbing systems. That has to also be considered as an exhaust opening. So that has certain clearance to come away from those devices, those openings. Not providing UL 710 or UL 710B. And be careful about hazardous material exhaust systems. If you do have hazardous materials, that's okay, as long as you don't exceed the amounts. And if it's required, The hazardous material exhaust system would be required, and in the code, per jurisdiction has the requirements for that. We have USTs, ASTs, underground storage tanks, above ground storage tanks. Please provide the appropriate UL listing and label for the application, and please don't forget to register the tank with the EPA or the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. Next slide. Keys to success. We point out in small print, should be really emphasized, your success is our success. QAD DSU is not an adversary and is available to discuss and assist in resolution of comments. We're here to help you. We want you to succeed. Understand that the intent of the audit is for code compliant design. It's life safety, it's features that need to be compliant with the code. Anticipate the reviewer's needs and make it easy to locate needed information. That makes faster reviews, audits. The requirements of the building code, reference standards, and the TCRM will dictate the methodology of the review. Present information with the intent to verify that the code requirements have been satisfied. Next slide, please. Now it leads us to the questions.